Hey everybody, Professor Snart checking in. Let me adjust my webcam a little bit. Just to say hi and keep us on track as we move a little deeper into our 1102 course. So we are now into Unit 5. I'm just going to click into the due dates. We've just finished up Unit 4, which was due Monday, September 8th. It's the day after. It's Tuesday today as I'm recording this. So we're looking at Unit 5 due Thursday, September 11th. Again, I've already harped on this a couple of times, but I really want to remind you that because Blackboard sort of automatically timestamps the stuff that you do when you're posting your own work to Blackboard or replying to others, it's hard for me not to see if you're posting at the very last minute and all of your posts are within 5 minutes of each other. So it does, to be perfectly honest, it sort of colors my reading of that just because it suggests, I mean, literally a sort of lack of investment of time. I understand that often you've read material or done things not just typing in Blackboard, but still, like 6 minutes within Blackboard really doesn't reflect much of an investment of time. So just do be conscientious about that and aware that it's something that I notice. The other thing to mention then is that we haven't obviously really written a formal essay yet. We've done, discussion board type things, introductory type things. You've done little quizzes here and there. So I obviously grade those much differently than I would a formal essay. So you can get away with a lot more in terms of like a discussion board post where I'm not grading for correct MLA citation necessarily or, lots of organizational things, basic grammar, punctuation. I mean, if the grammar's, it makes it unreadable, clearly that's going to affect the grade, but I don't grade our discussion board work in the same way that I will grade like a formal essay. So one of the things just to be conscious of is that the grades that you can earn in a discussion board don't necessarily reflect the quality of writing that I'm looking for right in the formal essay. So you may have got full points on a discussion board, but that doesn't mean that you're necessarily doing, all of the writing things correct, because that's really not what we're looking for in those discussion boards. I'm looking for your investment in kind of doing the work and engaging with the texts or with other people's posts. So it's assessing a different thing. So just be careful not to think, okay, I'm doing great in these discussion boards, I can now just transfer kind of that tone or that approach or whatever into the formal essay and expect the same perfect point result. Again, those two assessment devices are kind of looking for and looking at different things. Okay, so Unit 5 is actually a really fun one for us. We're looking at a new short story here, one called Boys and Girls by Alice Munro, and trying to compare that to a song and video that's a number of years old now by No Doubt, which is fronted by Gwen Stefani. So you've probably heard of that band and certainly her, and are maybe even familiar with the song from years back. But you'll notice some really striking parallels, I think, between the short story and then what's happening in the song thematically, but even in the video kind of visually, how it's presented and some of the things that are happening in the story. So it's just an interesting way, I think, to think about so-called literature, sort of to go back to one of our earliest questions. We're looking at how this work of literature speaks to a very kind of common theme in the same way that the song does, but maybe we're also looking at the song in a kind of literary way. So there's a really nice crossover that happens here. You'll notice that this reading is not in our textbook, so it's provided as a PDF in our unit here, which is really not ideal, but again, because of the nature of our textbook being a custom edition, I could pick and choose what works we were looking at or what are included in the textbook, but I only had a limited range of options to choose from, and unfortunately, Munro's short story was not among the options. I clearly would have chosen to put it in the book, but I love this unit so much, and the really amazing parallels between the story and this video, the sort of literature and the pop culture. that I wanted to preserve it. So we read the story in PDF form for a variety of reasons. So that's really the main thing that we're looking at here, kind of an interesting way of starting to think about this new short story that we're doing. There's a brief quiz on the story, and then you'll find a little piece here that is ultimately asking you to do like a one-question quiz about Alice Munro's, asking what was the first teleplay that she wrote, I think is the question. But honestly, what I'm doing is making sure that everybody has a working library card. Because when it comes to writing our essays, one of the things that you'll be doing is incorporating secondary sources. And for those, we'll always use the COD databases. And to access those, unless you're on campus, because it's a subscription service, so you have, by virtue of paying tuition, you've contributed to paying for these subscriptions. Unless you're on campus, you'll need your library card to log into those databases, because it needs to know that the people accessing the material have been part of the paying subscription. So you may find that the quiz is this really odd, sort of finicky, like one question, irrelevant thing, but really all it's doing is checking to make sure that you have a library card, and of course that it's active. COD library cards do expire, so you might have one and have had it for a while, but if you haven't actively renewed it, then it might have expired. And sometimes we find this out at the worst possible time. So it's right near the deadline, you're trying to do this thing, and then you discover that your library card isn't active. I want you to discover, if that happens, I want you to discover it now in this biography quiz, or this little sort of no-point exercise. I don't want it to affect your writing of like the big point essays that we're doing. So you may find it a little weird, but the point is just to check that you've got a library card and that it works. You can access the databases from off campus. Okay, so a pretty fun unit, hopefully be enjoyable. Again, try to be conscientious about getting the work done in a timely manner. It makes it easier for you, but also for others in the class who are waiting for some original posts to respond to. Okay, so keep track of those due dates, not just the most immediate one, but kind of as they're lining up as we go through here. And amazingly, within the 8-week format, we're not midterm by any means, but we're a fair way into our course already. And within the next couple of units, we'll be getting into sort of the research component and then writing our first formal essay. So we're almost at that. We're almost built up to that, the first formal essay component of our class. All right, so as always, if you have questions or concerns, be in touch with me, and I'll talk with everybody soon.